Hello, guys, and welcome back. Before we started, if you haven't done it, please check also my other social media, Instagram and Patreon. In today's videos, we are going to take a look at Fruit Bowls by West Coast Games. This is a card play for 2 to 5 players, and it plays about in 20 minutes. Fruit Bowls is a card game. You have 57 cards, and you have 7 different suits: plum, apple, oranges, tomato, pear, lemon, and watermelon. In the game, you will try to collect sets of fruits to score them. And let's take a look at how to score in the game before explaining the rules. Let's say we finish the game and these are the fruits that I have collected, plus I have some cards left in my hands. I have oranges, I have tomato, I have pears, and I have plum. I will be able to score only 3 suits or 3 fruits, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to score, obviously, the one that will allow me to make the bigger score. So, for example, in this case, I will not score the plum and I will score the oranges, tomato, and pear. How is score? You're going to take the highest value of card. In this case, I have a 4 of orange and I will multiply by the number of cards that I have. Here you see I have a star. This is the star fruit, essentially is a wild card that you can add to any of your stack. So let's say I did this. So I'm going to have 4 times 4 is 16. Here I have 2 tomatoes. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then here I have 5. 5 times 3 is 15. If I have more than 3 fruits, I need to subtract the value of over here to my total. And I'm going to multiply also that value. So in this case, it's 2 times 1 card. So I'm going to subtract only 2 points. And then if I have cards in my hands, like in this case, I take the value and add it to it. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And that number is going to be subtracted also to my total value. So I'm going to this plus this minus any other suits that you have collected and the cards in your hands. But now let's go and take a look at how the game is played and set up. To set up the game, you shuffle the deck of cards. You deal 5 cards to each player. And then you're going to reveal a row of fruits. In this case, because I'm going to set up for a 3 to 5 player game, I'm going to use all the suits in the deck. If you only play with 2 players, you will remove one of the suits. After that, you see here we have this bucket. They represent the fruit stall that you can go and gather fruits at the market. And after that, you are ready to begin the game. On your turn, you can perform up to 2 actions. You can also forego 1 action, but at least 1 have to be done. But you have a maximum of 2 actions. And you can choose 4 different actions to do, or you can repeat the same action as well. And after you finish your turn, you need to draw back up to 5 cards to have it in your hand. If at any point there is only 1 occupied stall or all the stalls are empty, then you refill the market. That's the only case it's going to happen. What are the actions available? One action is add fruit to the market. For example, this is my hand. And so what I'm going to do, for example, I can take this card here and I can add it to the oranges here. Why I want to add a card into the stack? Well, because the main way to gather cards and add it to your collection, if when you add a card to a stall, if you have one of the 2 adjacent stalls being surpassed by 2 points or more, you can collect the one that has less points. For example, in this case, because I add the 1 is a 5 and 1 is 6, they surpass 1 by 2 points, I will take this and add it to my collection. Another action that I can do is combine stacks. So for example, I can take this tomato over here and place it in this stack over here. Why would I do that? Well, because remember, I have 2 actions that I can take. For example, I can combine the stack, and after that, I add a card to a previous stack. In this case, I can add the oranges. Now what happens is 5 plus 3 is 8, surpasses 5 of the tomatoes. So I'm able to get the tomatoes and add it to my personal stack. This is the main way to gather cards. And obviously the puzzle here is how to be efficient in playing these 2 actions together and able to accumulate lots of fruits for your personal collection. Another action that I can take is slide a card. For example, I can slide this watermelon here as my first action. And after that, I play another pair. In this case, the total here is going to surpass the adjacent total. I'm going to take this watermelon and add to my collection. Remember, the cards that you're going to gather, they're only adjacent to where you are placed the card into the market. If market stalls are empty, they will not count in terms of adjacency. So you actually have to place a card adjacent to another stall. Another card that you can play is the Naneki Neko card. This card is a cat. What does a cat do? Well, eat fruits. So you play this card, you can discard any card of any value from one stall. Maybe you want to do it because the value of that stall has increased too much. You won't be able to gather or other reason. And so you will do that. And finally, you have the star fruit. This is a wild card, so you can play anywhere and will count as the fruit that you have gathered there. When adding a card to the stack, if the card stack surpasses 5, the all stack is taken and discarded from the market, and you're going to have an empty stall over there. Once you have chosen one or two actions to perform, you will draw back up to 5 cards in your hands, and the turn will pass to the player to your left. The game continues until all the deck runs out, and then you go and score points as we discussed it before. You play any number of rounds that you decide at the beginning of the game, and whoever the most points is the winner. Fruit Balls is a family card play. You see, the rules are very easy and very approachable for everyone. You can teach in 5 minutes and everyone gets it. Very simple action. Move the cards and move the markets, combine fruits, slide them, add a card. That's obviously most of the time is the second action you're going to take because it's the one that allows you to collect. And there's also the interesting part. There's a little bit of push your luck. You're going to see maybe a little lemon that counts for 5. You're able to get the only one card. You go for the big ones, but you also want the small one to make a big set and get a big multiplier. And the push your luck element is there because you go for some fruits at the beginning of the game, but then you realize that every time you add the card, there is a possibility to collect the stack and you have to do it. And so you may end up with more than 3 suits, which are fruits, and you're not very happy about that. But, the game plays 20 minutes. You need to be tactical in how you play your cards and try a little bit to counteract it based on how the market changes throughout the game. The game is really, really fast. And I enjoy it in the terms of that you can chit chat that then when playing is not something that it requires lots of attention, as well as you cannot really plan ahead because the market changes a lot. So, and the puzzle that arrives is always a little bit interesting. There's something to consider and offer clever moves. So if you want a family card game, go and check them out. If you're curious about my full ideas and my full thoughts about this game, don't forget to join me on Patreon to see my final and complete thoughts. And if you made it so far, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not your first YouTube video, am I right? Thank you very much and see you next time. Ciao.